Hi, I'm Todd Wente, and this is the Daily 180. 180 seconds of motivation and inspiration intended to help you take action and make progress in your life. This is episode 390 of the Daily 180, and we're going to continue our series of O words by talking about the word overtime. Now, when I was younger, I gotta be honest, when I heard the word overtime, my hand would go up in the air and I would say, "Yee-haw, I will take all you can give me." That's because when I was younger, overtime meant you were getting paid time and a half, and I could do the math in my head. If I was going to put in the same number of hours, get paid a little bit more, that sounded like a really good idea to me. And you know what? There are times in our lives when that is an entirely appropriate response. But we have to remember that with overtime also comes a cost. As I started to work overtime more and more frequently, one of the things that I started to notice was my paycheck didn't go up as much as I thought it would. And that's because the way that the federal government counts taxes in the United States for overtime is that they take a little more out of your paycheck when you work those overtime hours. So oftentimes you're not going to see the extra 50% or the time and a half, you see just the regular number of hours. It took me a while before I started to recognize that overtime came with two costs. Obviously, the first cost that I was thinking of, the hours that I would spend would not necessarily get me as much extra money as I was hoping for. But the other one was that it took time away from other things that were going on. Now again, going back to when I was younger, I may not have had so many other things going on. The time that I would spend in overtime was simply taking me away from maybe a video game, maybe spending some time going for a walk or watching a movie or just vegging at my house for a little while, eating a little bit of pizza and watching bad television because I was too unmotivated to get up and change the channel. I'm sure that none of the rest of you have ever felt like that, right? But as I've gotten older and I've looked at the possibility of overtime, I recognize that every extra hour that I give to my work is an extra hour that I take away from my family. It's an extra hour that I take away from my home. It's an extra hour that I take away from some of the other facets of my life and puts my life a little bit further out of balance. As we talk about balance in our lives, we recognize we're always in motion. And the goal is to keep all of those different facets of life, those 6 basic facets, balanced enough so that we can move our lives forward easily and with as little turbulence as possible. But sometimes every hour of overtime pulls that out. My encouragement to you is not to avoid overtime, not by a long shot. My encouragement to you is maybe do what I do and ask yourself, is the overtime that I'm going to spend here worth the extra effort that it's going to take to set things right in another part of my life? If the answer is, you know what, I got to just do it because I've got to get things taken care of, absolutely do it. But do it as fast as possible. And if the answer is, well, not really, then if the overtime is voluntary, maybe let somebody else take it. And if the overtime is not voluntary, maybe evaluate whether or not this is still where you want to be. Those are things that I keep in my own mind, and they've been useful. Hopefully they're useful for you too. As we move forward, obviously, I'd love to have you join the journey to see the rest of what we're going to be doing. So make sure you hit the bar to subscribe and hit the bell so that you can be notified when we put new videos out. And in the meantime, share this one with anybody that you think can benefit from it because we want more people to benefit. My name is Todd Wente. This has been the Daily 180. Go forth and conquer. We'll see you next time.